Hey guys, Carell Cooper here with OnTheBlack.com, here to give you guys some Mets news and a few random thoughts. First, the New York Post is reporting that Steve Phillips, former New York Mets general manager, is having an affair with a 22-year-old production assistant at ESPN, which, Phillips works for ESPN, so it happens to be a coworker of his. To many of us Mets fans, this really isn't a big deal. It really isn't that much of news because Phillips was known to have multiple affairs when he was the Mets general manager. I guess the crazy part in this whole story is this kind of turned into a little bit of a fatal attraction as this girl that he was having an affair with ended up writing a pretty interesting letter to Steve Phillips' wife, and I'm going to post a link. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll post a link on the side. If you're watching this on OnTheBlack.com, the link will be below this video, and you guys can take a look at that letter that this lady wrote to Phillips' wife. So the big controversy a couple days ago was whether or not Mariano Rivera threw a spitball in the game against the Angels the other night, and if he's been doing this for some time now. And I've been asked by a number of you guys to sort of give my thoughts on this. So my thoughts on Mariano is, one, I think he's the greatest closer of all time. Two, I don't think he threw a spitball in the game the other night against the Angels. And three, I don't think that this is something that he's been doing throughout his career either. And the reason why I say that is, one, MLB did their investigation on this, and they determined that Mariano was not throwing spitball, and I'm going to kind of trust MLB and take their word for it here because they've got the videotapes. They can look at this from different angles. They can zoom in. They've got much better technology than any of us out there have to kind of determine whether or not Mariano was doing this. And the other reason why this is a non-issue to me is Mariano's been pitching in Major League Baseball for 14 years, I believe. He's got over 500 saves. He's been on the mound plenty of times. There's been plenty of cameras who've watched him pitch, so on and so forth. And this has never been an issue before. So I don't think that he's done this before. I don't think that he threw a spitball against the Angels the other night. And so that's pretty much all I need to say about that. But in my opinion, Mariano's a clean player and he plays the game the right way. And over at Mets blog, Matt Cerrone has a nice write-up where he discusses that the Mets entity, Mets LP, that's tied to the Mets ownership group, may be sued for withdrawing over $48 million in the Madoff scheme. Now, that's interesting because all this time us Mets fans and everyone out there in the news has been reporting and thinking that the reason the Mets might be in trouble, they might be cutting costs going into next year, so on and so forth, is because of all the money that the Wilpons lost in the Madoff scheme. But if this story is true, then it would seem that the Mets actually made money in the scheme. Now, I'm not saying that they did anything wrong because they probably didn't, and there's others out there who withdrew money and made money but had no knowledge of the scheme. I guess the point here is that they might have to actually give some of that money back. But it's ironic to sit here and think that, all this time we've been thinking that the Wilpons lost money, but they actually may have made money in the Madoff scheme. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you think about Steve Phillips, Mariano Rivera, and the Mets' issues with the Madoff scheme. Talk to you guys soon.